How do you prove that your husband isn't looking at corn anymore? This is a really hard question to answer, but I'm going to try to do the best I can. I think a lot of this happens over time and seeing their sobriety journey and seeing that they are remaining sober, seeing the effort they're putting into the relationship, what are they willing to do? And there have been a few things that I personally have asked my husband to do that has tremendously helped me rebuild trust over time and heal. So I'm going to ask you, what would those things look like to you? Some of these things might be, do you need access to his phone 24/7? Are there certain apps that you don't want to see him on, certain social media platforms you don't want to see him on? Would there be certain things in his behavioral, his behaviors that would change that would help prove to you, okay, I know he's not doing that. Some of those things might be because like the frontal lobe of their brain is essentially especially if they've been looking at corn since they were at a very young age. A lot of men don't realize this. It damages the frontal lobe of their brain, which is where empathy and vulnerability and a lot of those empathetic emotions come from, connection, intimacy. So if you're seeing these skills evolve and come to life, that's a pretty good sign that he's not looking at corn. That also takes time and consistency. That's not going to happen a week, a month, or even a year. Like, keep in mind, if an addiction has been going on since a very, very young age, this is going to take a long time to heal. I would say it's very key, and you can evaluate this yourself, but for myself, I wanted to see that he was attending SA meetings and having that accountability. I wanted him to have spiritual accountability and not men that were putting it back on me that I was to blame for this, because I 1,000% was not. Nothing I did was wrong. This was something my husband had to work on himself, and also a therapist. And I think a licensed therapist is very, very critical in this, not only for him, but for you, because he has to focus on all the trauma down here that is causing these problems up here. One of our therapists said they had us do this quiz, and it had like graphs and spikes on it to show where we were at certain things. And he said, I'll never forget this, he said, I never see a man whose emotional pain level is I never see a man who doesn't have exactly the same height with his emotional pain and trauma, where the SA and the corn addiction does not match. So a lot of the inner work they're going to have to do goes back to trauma therapy, inner child work, and working on addictive behavior patterns. Therapy is important for you because you've now experienced PTSD and trauma and triggers, and so it's very, very important that you have therapy to help navigate, is this true or false? So is this an assumption or is this reality? Is this fact or fiction in my brain? Because your brain is always at this point going to go to worst case scenario, even if you don't have proof, even if you're seeing all the signs of sobriety, even if you're seeing him do all the work, your brain is still going to go into fight or flight. So you're either going to want to fight with him or you're going to want to get away from him. So it's going to be very triggering. So I think that your therapy is just as critical as his therapy. Once you see that a man is healing and you see like, wow, this is what a marriage should be. This is what love is. Okay, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. It's hard to, I guess the way I'm trying to word this is that you start, suddenly the light bulb goes off in your head, your eyes are open, your ears are open, and you realize, wow, like my relationship was toxic. My relationship wasn't healthy. And so your eyes are completely open to all those red flags that you didn't see before. So if those red flags happen going forward, you are going to be hyper vigilant to them. You're going to be 1,000% aware that that's going on. The other way that I had proof that he wasn't looking at corn, and I have to be careful what I say on social media, was how things changed with our intimacy. Wow, did things change in our intimacy? And my husband became very vulnerable. And ladies, if your men are watching this, if your men can hear anything I say, go have them listen to some podcasts on intimacy, because a man is always looking for intimacy in the bedroom. And he is actually searching for it with all these people and never finding it. He wants to find it with you. He doesn't know how. And once a man finds that, it's like a light bulb goes off in their head, and it is the most fulfilling experience for them. And it's really hard for them to go back to their essentially old ways because of what they have found when that light bulb goes off in their head. Ultimately, there's always the possibility of them relapsing. There's always the possibility of them not changing. But over time, there's healing if they choose sobriety and they choose to heal. And there are definitely things that you can set in place so that they're proving that over time to you. It is going to take a lot of consistency and proof and reassurance from them to get you to that point, but it is possible.